Moody's turning up the heat on Congress to raise the debt ceiling, warning that if that ceiling isn't raised in time, we don't know if August the 2nd is the deadline for Moody's, the company may cut America's AAA credit rating. With us now on the phone, Congressman Ron Paul from Texas. Congressman, is the AAA rating, in your mind, worth saving?
Well, probably not. I think if you really had a market evaluation on this, it should have been marked down a long time ago. And, you know, I always wonder about these ratings. The bond ratings before the crash 3 years ago weren't very helpful. So sometimes I wonder whether this is more of the political theater to build up the fear. First, we won't be able to write the checks for Social Security, and now the next thing there'll be a down rating of bonds. Actually, the market does the final rating. I think our solvency and our dollar is better rated by the price of gold rather than what Moody's will say. But on the short run, obviously, what Moody does will have an effect.
Okay, so the problem, of course, is that the U.S. government doesn't borrow in gold. It borrows in Treasury bonds. And the expectation is that if Moody's actually does cut the AAA, that bond yields are going to rise. It's going to become more expensive for the United States to finance its debts. And interest costs are going to grow as a percentage of federal spending. Can we really afford that kind of thing when we're already trying to cut everything else, entitlements and discretionary spending?
You know, and that'll move it along, but ultimately that's going to happen anyway because we are insolvent. I mean, we play along with this game with Social Security. We know it's insolvent. We know that if it were an insurance company, it would be in big trouble. So it is true this rating will have an effect, but it's a short-time effect because I think ultimately the fundamentals show that this country is bankrupt. Yes, if they do this, this would be very, very significant. But I think it's part of the game to make sure that everybody's very fearful so that we continue this process. Long term, actually, I think raising the debt limit is a negative because it delays the inevitable. It's going to give us much bigger problems down the road. But today and tomorrow, you know, if Moody's do not raise, you do not lower the bond rating, it will be helpful on the short run. But on the long run, it's going to be more devastating because Congress will go back to their old habits again. They'll just say, "Oh well, we got it raised." I mean, if you did something.
So, Congressman, before we go, there's an implicit trade-off here, and you don't think that the trade-off in favor of the AAA rating is worth making?
Well, on the short run, it is. On the long run, it makes things worse.
All right, Congressman Ron Paul, thanks for joining us here on the Inside Track.